Well, hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chicago. We got November the 5th, 2025. Once again, we have a beautiful day. We got 60 degrees and sunshine. So, hey, let's take advantage of it. I was planning, well, I already was looking for the bridge lift earlier. I ran down to the river. I got out of a meeting and I ran down and live streamed for about 15 minutes, about 10:30, and then I went back to work. And there's not going to be a bridge lift today. And I was so for sure, since it was a sunshiny day, I thought they'd be doing a bridge lift, but I checked the website and they're not, because they think they're going to do it on Saturday. So I was able to get some footage of the Thanksgiving. There's a gravy train, Jewel Osco Thanksgiving boat with a turkey on it. And I was able to get some footage of that because I totally unexpected. I was looking for the sailboats and I saw a water taxi coming around. I quick went live and we caught some images. So hopefully, maybe this thing is still sailing around. We'll go check out the Riverwalk here and we'll see if we catch it again. If not, we caught it. That's why I streamed. And people, I apologize to Chris Schultz. I know that wasn't your intention. I'm a very paranoid person. People were asking me why I wasn't at work. I was looking for a bridge lift, and I started early last Wednesday. I work my 40 hours. Sometimes I work more than 40 hours because I work on weekends, and I know I react badly because I'm like, why? I know people ask questions. They're like, why are you at work? But I took it as I always go to the worst case scenario because I'm a pessimistic. I'm like, they're going to call my boss and tell him I'm not at work and try to get me fired. But I don't think that's what Chris was doing. Other people do that. I'm sure the trolls would want to do that. And that's why people in the past, people have jokingly threatened you to like if I'm late to work, and I just get tired of it. But, that's me, my overly reactive, emotional immaturity, which I have that in spades. Just ask my mod team. But hey, thanks for tuning in here. Here's the site of Fort Dearborn here. We're at Wacker in Michigan here. We're going to head to the Chicago Riverwalk. Hopefully we'll catch, no promises, we're going to look for this gravy train turkey Thanksgiving water taxi that we saw earlier briefly. I was out here for 15 minutes. I did go back to work. I worked from 11 to noon. So hopefully that'll placate people that are worried about my work hours. And I know that's not people's intention. People were just asking questions. My brain, you understand how my brain works. I'm very reactive. It's very hard for me to deal with the comments sometimes. So here, let's head down to the Riverwalk. So it's gone, so it must be sailing. It was there. We walked across there. We saw the Jewel Osco mascot. I don't need to be, I'm not getting paid by Jewel Osco. It's not a sponsor. This is not everything's a promotion. I think it's nice because I know I got some flack for showing the Macy's holiday windows so early, because Christmas, immediately the day after Halloween, we know the retailers are going to switch immediately to Christmas because they're going to try to make as much money. But we'll talk about that. I think there's some protests where people are actually talking about boycotting Black Friday, boycotting Cyber Monday. That would be awesome if you boycott Amazon. Amazon's laying off a bunch of employees, corporate employees, and so is UBS. And I would like nothing better for people this Christmas to not buy stuff and just spend time with family. You can do other things to celebrate Christmas without having to purchase a bunch of stuff. And if we could hurt the billionaires by not going through, not pushing back against the consumerism of Christmas, I think even the followers of Christ would appreciate that it's not about buying stuff. That's the commercialization of the holiday. And here's Chicago First Lady and Emerald Lady, Chicago's Emerald Lady here. Here we got a beautiful day here. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here we got November the 5th, 2025, and we're here on the Chicago Riverwalk. Chris, thanks for tuning in. Sorry, I apologize to you. I reacted badly. I know you weren't trying to get me fired from my job. That was the first thing I thought of, and once my mind went there, I ended the live. I did go back to work. hopefully that placates you and others that were concerned about me not being at work. And I know that wasn't your intention, but thanks for coming back. You know how my brain works. People joke that when I'm late to work, they're going to try to get me fired and stuff like that, and that's what the trolls do. And I know you weren't being a troll, so thanks for coming back here. But hey, we saw that water taxi decorated like Thanksgiving. I already made 2 shorts about it, and that was from the footage that we caught earlier. There's not going to be a bridge lift today. There's not. The sailboats, they canceled it, or they pushed it to Saturday for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they're working on the State Street Bridge, because otherwise I see no reason why they couldn't do a bridge lift today. Maybe there's no sailboats that requested to go through the harbor. But we'll try to find this Thanksgiving boat. Maybe it went all the way down to Chinatown. It had a band on it, had a turkey on it, and so it was worth it for that. Hey Chris, thanks for coming back there. Dolores, S Van Sky. No, I know you didn't want to get me in any trouble, Chris. I appreciate that. Thanks thanks for cutting me some slack there. Hey Lambie T, how you doing there? Let's see who else is tuning in here. Let's see, S Van Sky, West Green, Windingo, Givers and Takers, Daniel Wayne, yeah, Optimus Prime, yeah, United States of America. Welcome. So I grew up in Indiana. We get that question all the time. I've lived in Chicago for over 26 years, and so over half my life. And this is my lunch hour. I eat my lunch either before or after my lunch hour. Usually, even before I was live streaming years ago, I would walk around. I would go to the Art Institute on my lunch break. I would walk on the Riverwalk once they made this, and so that's why I'm just sharing my time. I work for an architecture engineering firm down here off Michigan Avenue, and I'm blessed with being close to Millennium Park, working next to the Riverwalk here in the Loop. So we take advantage of the time here and just show the changing of the seasons and things like bridge lifts and construction on State Street. And we'll end this at Millennium Park because I want to see if we'll walk along the Riverwalk. We'll head through the Loop. We'll probably go by Daily Plaza. Again, I know we're doing the same thing because we're seeing they're setting up for the Kris Kringle Market, and I think sometime this week they're probably going to start setting up the official Christmas tree that they already cut down from the suburbs, and they're going to transport it, and they already got the anchor for the tree, and they'll have a big crane, and I want to see if they started that yet. So hey, yeah, so Leah, let's see who else is too. Sheridan, Lambie T, T-Lime Tea Time, Dolores, Asadula, yeah, how you doing? It's a beautiful city here, thank you. A-N-U-J, Kelly's, yeah, Russell, Wayne, Gav, Steve, yeah, Gisela, thanks for tuning in. Lori, Wes, yeah, I think we got everybody here. C, Security, Junior, Gisela, okay, good. So here, let me see if I can clean off the camera. We got a little glare there. That's the shininess of the Trump Tower there. We got severe clear here. Look how sparkly that is. Here's the Marina Towers. Yeah, this is a river. This is called the Chicago River. It pretty much functions like a canal because they reversed it. It pretty much stays the same level. It does flood every once in a while. It'll flood up on this Riverwalk, but it's usually when we get large rain events. They reversed it. It flows that way. It used to flow towards Lake Michigan. Now it flows towards the Illinois Ship and Sanitary Canal. This is the Chicago River in Chicago, Illinois. These are Bascule bridges. So I thought maybe there was going to be a bridge lift today for the sailpost because usually there is Wednesdays and Saturdays, but for whatever reason they decided not to do it today, even though it's a nice weather day. So we'll just check out the fall foliage here. We'll walk along the Riverwalk. Maybe we'll get lucky and catch this Thanksgiving boat again. If not, I already got footage of it. There's a giant plane. Look at that giant plane. I'm just amazed they fly that low over downtown. And after 9/11, they stopped the planes, but then a few years after that, they allowed them to fly right over downtown, and it looks like they're going to hit the buildings because they come out of O'Hare, and that was a big like 777 going across probably to Europe or something. Yeah, there's a lot of movies filmed in Chicago. We talk about it here. Thanks for the good info there. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in there. Asadullah. Anita, thanks for being on. Yeah, Anita, I got your messages. Thanks so much for that. That sounds great. And I really appreciate that. And thanks again to everybody that gave your condolences, thoughts and prayers there to Shauna and her family there. They're dealing with the death in the family, her sister. And that's got to be, you know, we'll give her time to grieve and take as much time as she needs there. But thanks everybody, and thanks Anita and everybody else here. And so here we'll head around here. There, Legal Seafoods. There's the Marina Towers, and here we're on the Riverwalk here. Here's State Street. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, North Carolina there, John Kennedy. You're like John Candy there. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll tell him hello from North Carolina. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Frank from Chi-Town. Okay, so Frank from Chi-Town. John Kennedy says hello from North Carolina. That's good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're not. I'm not a fan of ice either. That's good. Thanks for your comment there. You grew up in Chicago? Yeah, they installed this walk. It wasn't here when I moved here either. I moved here in 1999. There was, where O'Brien's was, there was just that one block you could go down and eat. They started working on this probably around the 2000s, the mid 2000s there. And then it was probably completed about 15 years ago. They extended it all the way to the lakefront, and they extended it 3 blocks this way. It first started out, it only went from like LaSalle to Michigan Avenue, and then they connected it to the lakefront, and then they extended it 3 more blocks all the way to the confluence at Lake Street, and that was the last section that they. Hey, beautiful dog there. How you doing there? See, Tiny Tap here. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, Irish on the south side there. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bridgeport and all go down to Beverly. All these giant Irish neighborhoods on the south side of Chicago. And thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, Canaryville. Yeah, we get down there every once in a while. We get down to Bridgeport, Palmasana Park. We went through Canaryville, went to Sox Park a few times, and I haven't got to Beverly. Beverly's way far south. We did get to Pullman, but that's not an Irish neighborhood, but that's a historic neighborhood, and they're all historic in this city. Here's Quaker Oats building. This is Chicago River. We're on the Chicago Riverwalk here, and we'll see if we see this gravy train boat. I doubt it. I'm glad we caught it. That's the fluke of live streaming. Like if I didn't go down there looking for the sailboats early from work, we would not have caught the Thanksgiving boat. I had no idea that the water taxi was going to have a Thanksgiving boat there. And my voice is so loud here, I'm annoying people walking on the Riverwalk here. So, hey Sheridan, how you doing there? Paul, yeah, good food here. M&M, how you doing there? Mac Jones. I know we can mock. Well, you know, we got to be careful how much we mock ICE. They do monitor social media. Isn't it amazing? Us as Americans, we thought the nanny state of China would be, you know, they're so worried about TikTok government surveillance from foreign governments when our own government. I think some of the funding for ICE is to social media surveillance. So that's why I switched from TikTok to YouTube. One of the reasons. There's several reasons. That's not the only reason. But yeah, we were talking about it this morning. The New York mayoral elections there. Mandami. I can't say it right. Zoran Mandami, the new mayor-elect of New York City, defeated Cuomo, and Sliwa, I can't say his name either, the Guardian Angels founder, came in third. And here we are between LaSalle Street and Clark Street here. Chicago Riverwalk, Chicago River here, November the 5th, 2025 here. Yeah, there are probably fed bots, there are robotic trolls. We notice they say the same thing over and over again, or maybe it's just a human saying the same thing over and over again. So eventually we'll see this. The Fort Dearborn's coming this way. There are still some architectural tours. There's looking east on the Chicago Riverwalk. There's the Botanical Building. It has another name. Here's the South Street. And the Eastland disaster was here. We'll head over to Wells Street. This is fresh water. How many rivers are salty? I mean, I know Lake Michigan's freshwater too. All 5 of the Great Lakes are freshwater. The largest collection of freshwater in the world, from what I understand. There's a lot of freshwater lakes in Canada as well. Glacier melt from the Ice Age 10,000 years ago, and this river used to be much more polluted. It probably is still a little polluted, but it's cleaned up enough. They had a swim. Ernesto Chicago Nuggies was able to capture that, and other people. We saw the setup for it. It was on a weekend. I wasn't motivated to come down there, but they actually had a river swim, like right in this area where they swam in the Chicago River. It's much cleaner than it used to be. People do fish in it. I'm not recommending you fish in it or swim in it, but I'm just saying it's possible. and here we'll get we got about 60 degrees here. I don't know what that is Celsius, about 15 degrees Celsius. Here's the Fort Dearborn heading westbound on the Chicago River there. Yeah, we went to the Chicago History Museum. I got reruns from last year. We need to go back. It was nice. We went there last year. I spent over an hour there on a lunch walk. We saw the dioramas about the Great Chicago Fire and the history of Chicago. They had a 1960s and 70s protest posters from the movement in the 60s, the Civil Rights Movement, and the Women's Liberation Movement. They had a bunch of protest posters, and we covered that. So message me if you want to see that. I can point you to the rerun. Is from a year ago about this time, like September of last year. We went in there. I walk by it all the time. We just don't go inside much. And there's the Fort Dearborn. Here comes Lucia. We've got 12:22 in the PM here, Chicago Central Time. We're by the Merchandise Mart on the Chicago Riverwalk. How's everybody doing there? Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Look at everybody sitting there out in the sun there. Yeah, the Merchandise Mart. Hubert's tuning in. How you doing there? Hey, Hubert, I noticed you know so much about and I don't expect you to know this, but I'll just ask you because I thought of you when last night I was walking home from work, and by the water tower just north of there's that whole empty block on Michigan Avenue where Ghirardelli used to be, and they used to have, a long time ago there was a bookstore, and then it became clothing store. But all that whole block's vacant. But I noticed you could see on my live rerun last night, they're working on where the Ghirardelli used to be there. I think that's Pearson and Michigan Avenue. And it looks like a new restaurant might be going in there. And that's or something. They're painting something there. They're painting a mural. It looked like a fig tree. So I wonder if it's going to be a restaurant. I know you gave me good information about the Magic store there at Lori's, or the Magic restaurant. And you seem to know a lot about the businesses on Michigan Avenue. So, yeah, we know about Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable. We talk about Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable all the time. That's the mixed. Well, we know he was a black man. We know they theorize he has a Haitian mother. No one really knows for sure. Maybe you know for sure. If you could find the proof, I would love that, to find proof that his mother was from Haiti. If that's the case, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable probably came up through New Orleans, through the French Louisiana culture there. He came to Chicago and lived here in the 1790s. His wife was Potawatomi. Her name was Kitty Hawa. There's a statue to him on Michigan Avenue. We talk about it a lot. I got reruns about Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable and his wife, and they had to leave this area. He sold his house to Kinsey and his improvements there. He was a fur trader with the Potawatomi during the French colonial culture, and he's considered the first non-indigenous resident of Chicago. Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable there. Thanks for bringing that up there. And there's a statue to him. They just cleaned up the statue. We walk by it usually every night on my walk home from work. And, you know, we know he was considered a black man or a person of color. We don't know if he was mixed, if his father could have been French or Creole or something like that. And certainly, you know, New Orleans was already founded at that time, and then it went back and forth between France and Spain. And him and his wife ended up in what we now call Missouri, but at that time it was part of Spanish and French Louisiana. And we really don't know what happened to him after that. They had kids. They had at least 2 children, and they would have been at least biracial, African American and Native American, maybe triracial. Maybe they were French combined with Haitian, combined with Potawatomi Native American, which would be similar to the Melungeons, which lived in Appalachia, which, you know, was a whole different story. Hey, look at the nice view. We got the Brown Line heading north, heading up to the Merchandise Mart train station. Here's the Franklin Street Bridge. There's not going to be a bridge lift today. They canceled it for whatever reason. Here's somebody fishing right here. Here we are on the Chicago Riverwalk. Thanks for tuning in. Hoto Chocolat. Yeah. You got to give me more than $5 there. Man, you're cheap. You would only pay me $5 to jump in the river. That's at least worth like $5,000 or $6,000. Man, you think I'm that desperate for money? Come on. I think I would pay you $5 not to jump in the river. I'd pay you $5 to leave the chat. Can you please leave the chat and I'll Venmo you $5? Is that worth it? Yeah. Can you please be silent the rest of the chat? Here's I know you won't. Hey, look at this. Look at this nice view. We got the pink line heading across. Look at that. Yeah, look at that scenes of the city here. And then if we look this way, there's a different train. Both of those are heading into the loop. That's a Brown Line heading down Wells there. Look at these scenes of the city. Yeah, I'm an SOB. Yeah, call me. You think that hurts my feelings? You can do better than that. Come on. Yeah, a lot of people confuse this with New York City, but we're not. It's Chicago, Franklin, and Wacker Drive. So here we'll leave the Riverwalk, the Merchandise Mart. We'll show you the Sears Tower here. We went around this yesterday. Welcome to Chicago here. We got November the 5th, 2025 here. We'll head across. Look how you can see that's the construction crane. That's the 400 North Lakeshore. We're way over here by Franklin and Wacker. We're by the Merchandise Mart, and we can look almost a half a mile towards the lake. That's near Lakeshore Drive. That's near the Ogden Slip. That's the top of the 400 North Lakeshore that we've been checking out the construction progress on. So that's how tall it's getting. Excuse me, I'm heading around here, and here we'll get the see that train, probably a green line. We'll get the green line with the Sears Tower here. These nice scenes of the city. Thanks for tuning in there. How's everybody doing here? Hamburg, Germany. Yeah, how you doing there, Maria? Thanks for tuning in. See Fritz from Dallas. How you doing? Welcome to Chicago. Look at this nice view we get of the green line heading across Franklin Street here with the Sears Tower in the background. Or you can call it the Willis Tower. You can call it whatever you want. Just don't go be late to dinner. Look at this bus stop. I'll show you this bus stop after this train goes across here. Yeah, welcome to Chicago. How's everybody doing here? We got 60 degrees. What a beautiful day. There's the bike lane on Franklin. Look at this thing. It's called Grubhub. They got a grilled cheese sandwich there. Look at that. Some in the food, Grubhub. I didn't mean to do an advertisement for Grubhub, but it works here because they got me filming the bus station here because it's a grilled cheese sandwich on top of the bus station there. It worked. Maybe look. Hey, Tombot, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. May, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Tombot, thanks again for all the gift memberships. There's so many people who are like, who gave me a gift membership? I said it must have been Tombot. I think you gifted a bunch of memberships. And look at the sun. The sun's pretty bright there today. So we'll head under the green and pink line tracks here. And this is where they enter the Loop of Chicago, that intersection. Look how you can look all the way back to the Aeon there. Very nice. $2. Thanks, Hubert. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Hubert. Thanks for being a loyal friend and follower. Hubert, I remember when I think it was you 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, when I first got banned from TikTok and I first started live streaming on Instagram and YouTube. I think you were one of the first people that watched that first live stream there on YouTube. So look how we've grown. Look how we've grown since then, and you've been a part of it. Thanks so much. So here's the train head to cross. Here's the pink line head to cross. And here's an historic building here, a Chicago landmark. The Lake Franklin Group, Burling Adler, George Edelbrook Architects. This rare grouping of post-fire buildings is the best reminder of the wholesale district, an area into the city's former role as the world's largest market for grain, lumber, and livestock. So this whole area here, early Victorian architecture, it used to be, it used to go along the Chicago River. There was a street called Water Street, which there's a little remnant of it over by Michigan Avenue that we crossed, and Water Street became Wacker Drive. And there used to be buildings on both sides of the street, so we lost all the buildings on the north side of the street that used to the back sides of those buildings used to have wharves right into the water. In the old pictures, you could see they tore all those buildings down to make Wacker Drive when they implemented the burning plan. And they're talking about these buildings are some of the last commercial storefronts here, and that weren't torn down for high-rise skyscrapers over the decades here. There's the green line, all the train traffic that goes through here every day. It's like the Blues Brothers.
It's around the corner here. It's like a...
So here, there's the Sears Tower. We'll have to get back into the shade here. It's too hard to film into the sun. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago here. We're on Franklin Street here, Loop of Chicago. We're going to head down towards Randolph. We'll go towards Daily Plaza. We'll end up in the Millennium Park. I want to see if they're setting up the Christmas tree, the official Christmas tree that they cut down from the suburbs. Old school Italian to Leona's. You go to Leona's here, right in the loop here. Yeah, Cowboy Town, Midnight Cowboy. Look at the Sears Tower there. John, thanks for $2. Thanks for the gifts. Hey, everybody, thanks for the tips. Thanks for doing round numbers. I know McCrae. I need to thank McCrae for that. I need to tell McCrae to come back because now I'm just letting people attack the trolls in the comments. He was such a good attack dog. I'm joking, Anita. I'm joking, Anita. I think I'm just happy that McCrae did. He's still following Ernesto Chicago Nuggies, and I'm glad that he's still connected with their Chicago community there. And I didn't mean to drive him away. That was his own decision. He's welcome to come back and be a viewer, and he can attack the trolls. It's just a regular viewer, just like people were doing this morning. That was nice. Thanks everybody for helping out there in the comments. So here, let's head towards the train tracks here. We'll get another view of the CTA train here, heading through the loop here, heading towards the loop. There it is. Look at that. Right on time there. Look at that. Trains, planes, and automobiles. Palace Theater there. Hey, thanks for tuning in from Russia. How you doing there? Raymond Munster. Stephanie. Yeah, there's a lot of AI chatbots. I know or people that act like AI chatbots. Look at this beautiful building. I mistakenly yesterday said this was on LaSalle. This building's on Wells. It's on Wells Street, and it's right next to the elevated train tracks. They converted it to housing. It used to be a commercial building. It's almost hidden, and at one time that was part of the Chicago skyline in the 1920s, but so many taller buildings have been built around it, it gets lost in the skyline, the forest of taller buildings that are in this area. But here, Wells Street. Thanks for tuning in here. How you doing there? Raymond Munster, yeah. Yeah, don't fall for the AI. Justin's tuning in there. So who thinks Jay sucks as well? Who do you like, Jay? I bet you, we know who you like, you know, so go ahead, make our day. Here we're going to Wells Street here. Why are you watching Chicago? You should be watching like Fox News or something that validates your own worldview there. Don't watch it. Yes, we'll challenge your views. We'll make you think. We'll make you question the reality there. You better turn the channel here. Here's, hey, urban street food here. We're in the big bad city here. All us evil liberals that live in the big bad city here. See, you're seeing what you're missing here. Not much. Not many people on the street here. Everybody left. Everybody moved to Florida. They're hanging out with DeSantis there and having great Gatsby parties at Mar-a-Lago. Here's, hey, look at this big loading dock. 1, 2, 3. So here we're on Wells Street here. We don't usually walk down here, but we'll walk past. There's some restaurants and stuff here. Court Place and Wells. Hey, look at that. Go down to park here. See how they added all these balconies? Look at that. So hey, welcome to Chicago. We're heading here south, and we're almost to the Washington Wells station on the loop of Chicago here. Yeah, there was a lot of scenes in Batman. We'll cross LaSalle Street. They used that in Batman. They used that in The Untouchables and Public Enemies and a lot of movies. Transformers. They blew up the city of Chicago. If you want to see Chicago blown up, watch one of the Transformers movies. They blow up the Jewelers Building. They have divers off the Trump Tower. And it didn't have the name on it at that time. It was before he added his name to it, because originally it wasn't there. I remember that when they first built it. But here's the loop of Chicago here. Hey, we got the light. So this is Washington Street. Yeah. If the truck was trying to change lanes because the Amazon truck was blocking the lane, the Amazon trucks block the bike lanes all the time, especially on Wells Street in Old Town. So there's a orange line from Midway heading through the loop there. And look at this housing. They converted these commercial buildings to housing. More people than ever are living in the loop. Look at this building. Look how they painted it. They painted it like the Chicago flag. They added a few extra stripes, but I just noticed that. I don't think that was always there. I think they just added that. And this building has been converted to housing too. Both of these buildings. This is on Washington Street, just east of Wells Street, Chicago. And then look at that. This is all residential now. Yeah, United States of America. Why do people keep asking the country? This is Chicago. We're part of the we don't feel like part of the United States and Trump America. We feel like Venezuela or Nigeria. We feel like they're going to use the U.S. military to attack us, even though we're a United States city. I'm joking. Does it seem blurry? It might be because my phone is giving me fits. I tried to clear the screen here. Does it look blurry to anybody else, or is it clear? Lambie, you can change the resolution. There's a little gear there, and you can push it to 720 or 1080p, and you can up the resolution. It defaults to a low resolution, and that's why I don't use the YouTube app, because that often happens. And if you watch the rerun, you can increase the resolution. It might be limited to your bandwidth of your phone. Here's LaSalle Street. So this is what they use for all those movies we just talked about. And I'm trying to film it here as we cross the street. How you doing? I'm trying to film the Board of Trade. I'm not filming the people in the truck. I'm filming the Board of Trade, and the cars are in the way. I always think I'm filming them, and it's the nature of a live streamer. I know everybody blocks their face and doesn't want to be on camera. I understand that. I understand. I'm not trying to get you. I'm not ICE. I don't work for the government. I don't wear a mask. I'm against people wearing masks, even if they're trying to arrest people. I think that will come back to haunt ICE and the people. I think there'll be a bunch of lawsuits, people violating, if they arrest U.S. citizens, they violate their Fourth and First Amendment rights. They don't read them their Miranda rights. I think they should read people their Miranda rights, especially if they're U.S. citizens. But I know the Supreme Court would beg to differ. Hey, we got a chance here. So I think there's the organized demonstration that was supposed to be on the Mall March at Washington, D.C. today, November the 5th, is probably not as large as the organizers intend, but I think 20,000 people are going to march on the mall at Washington, D.C. It'll be similar to the No Kings that was nationwide, but they're just doing it at Washington, D.C. the day after the election. Some people have been letting me know. I'll get you more information about this. I think before Black Friday and Cyber Monday, I think a lot of people are going to boycott, especially Cyber Monday, buying anything from Amazon or buying anything for Christmas online, or they're not going to do the shopping, because I think that's excellent. There would be no better way to celebrate Christmas this year and to not buying as many gifts, to really concentrate on family and friends and things that are free. And we can punish Amazon and other companies by not buying stuff. And we'll get you more information about that. I'm excited about people boycotting the whole. It doesn't matter. It's not company specific. It's just moving away from the consumerism of the holiday shopping season. And here we are. Here's the Kris Kringle market here, and we went here yesterday. We'll talk more about that. We got 12:42. We'll head through. We're just showing every day this week, 3 days in a row here. We've been walking by Daily Plaza and checking out the construction progress of the Kris Kringle market here. So here, let's go over this way. We'll show it here. Yeah, this guy's Dick Durbin, New City Hall. Seems fine, good. England's tuning in there. Yeah, boycott consumerism. I could think of no more Christian thing to do, and you could, instead of spending money on things you don't need for family members, you can donate to food pantries. You can help people that need SNAP benefits. I'm going to volunteer at a local food bank. My companies, they're doing a program. We've done it before, where we volunteer to work at a local food bank, and it's very rewarding. You see the food come in, the day-old bread and the milk and stuff, and they got big giant refrigerators that you can walk into, and you sort the good produce, and you pick out the bad rotten stuff, and you keep the good stuff so people can have access to good fruits and vegetables. And me, instead of buying gifts for my family members that have plenty of money, I'm gonna donate money to people that are in real need. That instead of buying a gift that for somebody that doesn't need it, I'm gonna buy a gift for some kids, toys for tots. You can donate for toys to tots. There's other ways to give, and isn't that amazing? The true spirit of the season. Give back to society instead of buying stuff for people that don't need it. Especially people. I'm not going to give any gifts to anybody in Congress. I'm not going to give any political campaign donations. How obscene is that? Yeah, stay away. If you don't like Chicago, stay away. Don't come here. Don't visit here. Don't even watch my live stream. You get robbed on the internet. But here's the Kris Kringle here. They're setting it up here. I think it's not going to open until November the 20th. So, the Kris Kringle market. I know it's called Crystal Kringle Christkindl Market, the German way to say it. I'm not even saying it right. That's why I say Christkindl, because I can't pronounce anything anyway. There's the Picasso. Here's the construction progress of the Christkindl Market here, Daily Plaza, Chicago, Illinois. We got November the 5th, 2025, 60 degrees. We got 12:45. And yeah, look at all these booths here. Wildlife ornaments. Yeah, California, they passed the redistricting. I think the governor, the Democrats won in Virginia and New Jersey, and of course, New York City, the mayoral race there. We've been talking about it. But here's the Christkindl Market here, Daily Plaza. We'll head over to Millennium Park here. Oh, we missed the bus. Hey, Nova Scotia, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in from Canada there. Hey, Betty, thanks for tuning in there. I know. I never seen so many like scared people, that people are scared of American cities. It's not as bad as you make it out to be. Why are you so scared? Because I'm sure if you're the type of people that are scared, I'm sure you believe in the Second Amendment, and why can't you protect yourself? You know, what are you so afraid of? I never understand it. There's so much fear. Everybody's like, are you safe? Watch out. You know, something bad. This could be the day. This could be the day I get mugged. I'm laying bleeding out in the street. It could happen any day. I've been walking to work for 26 years. Maybe I've been very lucky. I don't know. And I'm not trying to tempt fate here. It's just I don't have a car, and I don't plan on getting a car. Here's the CBS News here. Let's see if they're filming the news here. How you doing? So yeah, this is where sometimes you can watch them filming the news and watch them do the weather. I did it on TikTok, and TikTok gave me a copyright strike because I was filming them doing the weather. They could sense the live broadcast copyright infringement. It was only 30 seconds of filming. It's just amazing. They did that in real time. That was a car backfiring. I'm sure people watching, they're like, oh, they got me with the Tommy gun. I know. But sometimes it's not a car backfiring. Sometimes it's real. As Duran discovered, he came to Chicago and he heard gunshots off in the distance, which is not uncommon in this city. Hey, thanks, Scatman there. How you doing? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. The people are trying to figure out who's talking behind him here. Here, we'll go around here. We'll get around the people here. There we go. Okay, good. Hey, Detroit, how you doing there? Detroit, Reich City there. Jesus. Yeah, the old buildings have character. The Wink. Then Theo. I can't read the name. Theo Wink. Okay, good. Thanks for tuning in. There's the green line. Hey, Jesus loves you. Yeah, very nice. I like that. That's nice. Yeah, very nice. How you doing? Jesus loves you. Thanks for the nice message. Thanks for the positivity. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The flag. That's good. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Look at that. So here's Macy's. See, we can put this on. We can put this on our bike here. Be like the Lucky for the Point Dynamite for the bikes here. Here's Macy's. Macy's Marshall Fields here. We filmed the window displays. Hey, they got, look, don't fall in the manhole there. They're working on the street there. This is Washington Street, State Street, Marshall Fields. We got reruns of all these window displays. Just check out my YouTube or TikTok. We're gonna head over to Millennium Park. Yeah, they got the crane up. Good. So once we get to Millennium Park, we'll show. They're bringing in, as we speak, they're setting up the official Christmas tree for Millennium Park. The same one they're going to light the Saturday night before Thanksgiving. That's when they have the Michigan Avenue, the Disney parade there. We usually cover that, and then usually that same night, or no, the next night they light the tree. We've covered it the last few years. Sometimes it's hard to live stream it, but it's usually people are pretty interested. And then people will be ice skating. They'll already be ice skating they're starting to set up the ice skating rink. Alvin, how's it going there? Yeah, see, Alvin, people from Nova Scotia are tuning in. Alvin tunes in from Saskatchewan. Am I saying that right? I know I can't say the province is the correct name there, or correct way. But thanks for tuning in there, all our Canadian friends. People from throughout the world here tuning in. Here, let's get across the street here. We got 12 seconds here. We'll cross Wabash under the L tracks here. Here comes the train. Yeah, let's get this orange line heading through here. Look at the Jewelers Building, the Trump Tower. Heading into Washington and Wabash. Hey, Melo, how you doing there? Aisha, John. Look, they gave me a flag. I'll give this to one of my coworkers. They'll be like, what? You're promoting one religion over the other? No, I like the diversity. Here's the cultural center. So look, they got the street blocked off. So let's show you how massive this is. And here we're going by the, this used to be the Chicago Public Library. Now it's the Chicago Cultural Center. You got the Tiffany domes. We'll see if we can cross the street here. We might have to walk up a block or so. We'll figure it out here. But here, they got, they're, okay. Let's get around this pole here and we'll do the whole spiel here. So hey, welcome to Chicago, welcome to Michigan and Washington streets. You see this giant crane? That's the official Christmas tree right there. There's the official Christmas tree. They're setting it into place as we speak. We'll head around here and we'll try to cross the street and we'll try to film this here. So they got the street blocked off. We'll wait till the light changes. I guess I should go down. I should probably go down to Randolph here. So let's do it the right way. Well, let's go this way. We'll go this way. It'll be faster because the light just changed here. And so we'll head around the Millennium Park. This way we'll be able to go by the Bean and then we'll end it at the official Christmas tree that they're setting up here. Here it is. And there's the crane. And they cut that tree down from a suburban community there. There's people getting out of the... We might be able to cross here. We might be able to cross. Yeah, I'm gonna try to cross right here. Cars are going through here. So here's the official Christmas tree here. We'll head around here. Here comes an ambulance here. I better get out of the way. There we go. So here we're on Michigan Avenue. Here comes an ambulance here. And we're just trying to get across the street so we can film the official Christmas tree here. And they got a bunch of fencing here. And they probably don't want me walking here. So we'll, here it is. So, maybe I should get back here. I don't think they want me here. So here we'll get around here. We'll head around to the other side. Yeah, they got this all blocked off for people's safety here. We'll see if we can get to the Bean. If we can get to the Bean, we'll be able to film this here. They didn't want me walking down here. I just tried. You have to cross to the other side of Randolph here. We'll get in the bike lane. We'll get in the bike lane here. We'll head around here. It's always obstacles, always obstacles. Excuse me, I'll come behind here. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. We're good. Always obstacles. The trees from Glenview. Thanks for the good information there, S-Van Sky. Appreciate it. Yeah. You were in Millennium Park several months ago. That's good. Well, here we'll go back here. Let's check out this official Christmas tree. I thought this was happening today. And I forget how much fencing they put up because they don't want people getting too close, because you know, that crane, that tree could topple over. Let's check it out here. 68. Thanks Chicago Toxic Donuts there. So the tree is from Glenview, which is a suburb on the northwest side of Chicagoland. The Christmas tree is 68 foot Norway spruce that came from Glenview, donated by the Mason family. Official lighting on November 21st. Thanks so much, Chicago Toxic Donut, for the good information there. And the squirrel just knocked something out of the tree there. But we should get a good view to it here. We'll view the construction, because I want to cut this out for the reruns here. I think people will be interested in this. We'll put it both on YouTube and TikTok here. So once we get up here, we'll try to film the crane here. They're installing it right now as we speak. Yeah, we got sirens in all the videos. There's sirens probably almost every night. So here's the Bean of Chicago, and here's the official Christmas tree. So hey, welcome to Chicago, welcome to Millennium Park. We have November the 5th, 2025. This is the official Christmas tree. They just brought it here from Glenview. It's a 68 foot, let's see what Chicago Toxic's done. It's a 68 foot Norway spruce from Glenview, donated by the Mason family for the official lighting of the Chicago Christmas tree right here in Millennium Park on November the 21st. We hope to be here to cover it. And see, they're starting to get the ice skating rink ready. There's the Bean, and this is the official Christmas tree. It just got here. They cut it down earlier this week in Glenview, and they transported it here, and they just installed it. They have a giant crane. Look at the worker there. He scaled the tree there. Look at that. How you doing? That is awesome. So hey, official Christmas tree in Chicago here, Millennium Park. This is where Washington Street meets Michigan. It lines up with the street, and they'll put a bunch of lights on this. For the next 2 weeks, they're going to be putting millions of lights on this thing. And yeah, thanks to the Mason family. So here, let's get back. Let's go check out the Bean, and then we'll come back here, because since we're so close, we'll get you some footage of the Bean, and then we'll get this on the way out, and then I have to go back to work here. So hey, thanks for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago and Millennium Park. They're setting up the official Christmas tree right there at Washington and Michigan. Look at the guy in there, and there's the crane, and they got it all blocked off, but they're still. Traffic's able to get through on Michigan Avenue, which is hard to cross the street there. You have to go up to Randolph or down to towards Monroe, or at least Madison. There's the Great Bean of Chicago. We'll show it in the sun here. They're working on the van shell. That's what that noise is. They're like sandblasting or cleaning it. Here's the Great Bean of Chicago. Look at that. Look at that sun. We got severe clear here. We got over 60 degrees on November the 5th, 2025. And here we'll head around here. Yeah, Lisa's tuning in there. Very nice. There's the Great Bean of Chicago. Look at that. Go all the way around it here. Yeah, the Bean. Aisha, thanks for staying on there. Dolores. So look at that giant crane. You see that crane there? That's the crane that's setting up the official Christmas tree. It's already up. There's a guy up there in the tree that's probably removing the cables that hoisted it up into position. And look at the beautiful sun reflected in the Bean of Chicago, the Cloud Gate. Anish Kapoor, the artist from London that won the competition. This is the Great Bean of Chicago. Here we'll go up and we'll knock on it. Yeah, there I am. And then we'll check out the crane here. He's taking a picture. You can go right up to it. How you doing there? Yeah, thanks for Great Bean of Chicago. There's the skyline of Chicago, and there's the look at this crane. Look at that. There's the official top of the official Christmas tree. We'll head right back over there. We go down the steps here. Hey, signs of the changing season. See, they're getting the ice skating rink ready. You're gonna convert this to ice skating here. It's not cold enough. Maybe we gotta wait till Sunday. There's a chance of flurries on Sunday. We'll see. But here, look at the people enjoying the great being of Chicago. Look at the grain there. Yeah. Yeah, people doing dances and getting a picture of the bean there. Yeah, we'll go check out this official Christmas tree here, and then I got to head back to work. But hey, thanks for coming along for our little tour of the loop. If you missed it, you can rewind. We went along the Riverwalk. We went through the loop. We went by Daily Plaza, which they're setting up. Look at the fall colors. Look at the beautiful maple trees here. And we got some footage from down that way from yesterday and Monday, filming the peak fall color here for the trees in Millennium Park here, Chicago, Illinois, part of Grant Park. And there, the sun went behind a cloud there finally. So let's go over and we'll film the official Christmas tree being set up here in Millennium Park. And we'll be back here hopefully November the 21st when they light this thing up and have a big ceremony. It's really hard to get through security and stuff. We'll find a way to do it. There, here's the official Christmas tree here in Chicago. And that noise is they're steam cleaning the Pritzker band shell behind us, so I know it's that annoying sound there. They're doing construction. But here's welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Millennium Park here. This is November the 5th, 2025, and they're setting up the official Christmas tree. And look how you see they're going to remove the cable. They got it placed in position. They got it anchored to the ground. They got it upright. They transported it from Glenview. And this is a Norway spruce, I think 68 feet tall. It's one of the largest holiday Christmas trees ever in Chicago. They're going to put millions of lights on that over the next 2 weeks. And here we are at Michigan and Washington Street. See the ice skating rink, the beans right there. And this is going to be the official Christmas tree for Millennium Park for Chicago for 2025. And they got the crane. They're setting in position. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, it's supposed to be in the 30s on Sunday. There's a chance of snow flurries. Yeah, look at the little ladder there. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I didn't notice that. Maybe that's how that guy got up there. He climbed. He's all the way up there. Look, they're removing the rope there that's attached to the crane there. Hey, there I am. How you doing there? Yeah. See? There's Brian, really Chicago. I had to put my face on the tree there. But hey, I got to head back to work here, but thanks for tuning in here. We'll show you the official Christmas tree, and I know it's very noisy over here, so hey, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Check for it in the reruns there, and we'll be on tonight after 5 o'clock. We'll do our walk home from work. Have a good rest of your Wednesday there, and we'll see what happens the rest of the week there. Okay, Prince, CK Sheridan, Karen, thanks. Chicago Toxic Donut, thanks for the good information there, and everybody else. And Anita, thanks for being on. And we'll see you all. Well, here, we'll end it with the beautiful fall color here. Look at the beautiful reds. Wow, look at the beautiful red maple trees here in Millennium Park. We're seeing the peak fall colors here. People are taking pictures here in the fall foliage. And what a beautiful fall we're having. A lot of sunshine. We're not getting much rain. We're getting a lot of sunny days. But I know it's going to end this week, and it's going to be rainy and cool, especially on Sunday. And so look at the beautiful fall foliage here. Millennium Park, they're setting up the official Christmas tree. Changing of the seasons here. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you after 5 o'clock tonight. Thanks a lot. Thanks Aisha and S-Fan Sky, Wayne, T-Lime Tea Time, Alvin, thanks for being on, Wes, and everybody else there. Kevin, Sam, we'll see you later here. Okay, bye. Go Bears. Yeah, go Bears. Chicago Toxic.